And good morning, everyone. Really happy to be with you finally to explain the topics of this work program. So yes, Destination 1. So it is about connecting the green transformation with social inclusion and local democracy. In the work program, you have a dedicated introductory text where you can have more details on the destination. I will just start by saying that this destination in work program 25 has two main aims. One is to understand how individual habits, mindsets, behaviors, but also how collective mindsets, habits, and behaviors can change into more sustainable and inclusive ones. And that covering the three geographical areas that facility aims to cover, so urban, peri-urban, and rural areas, and how to promote interconnections between these diverse realities. Therefore, turning, as Vera was saying, the limitations stemming from the green and digital transitions into actual opportunities. And the second main aim would be about further exploring the transformative potential of participatory practices and governance models, notably how culture, the arts, the creative industry, as well as the socio-cultural work sector can enhance transformation processes for the green transition. How can help address vulnerability and social equity concerns, and also how it can contribute to social inclusion, democracy at the local level, and sense of belonging. Now, this being said, we can move to the next slide. This destination foresees 4 topics in Work Program 25, but before going into the details of each of them, I would like to highlight 3 aspects that are common to all these topics. First of all, they all include a paragraph indicating that proposals are expected to follow a participatory and transdisciplinary approach. Now, the actors and disciplines to be involved will depend on each topic and also on the concept that each proposal will be putting forward. Second common aspect to these 4 topics is that they all include a reference to the integration of social sciences and humanities. And the third point is that they all include as well a reference to projects dedicating at least 2% of their total budget to share intermediate and final results and finding with the New European Bauhaus Hub for Results and Impact, which is a coordination and support action that will be gathering knowledge about and from NEB projects and actions, and also making it accessible in a user-friendly way to stakeholders. And just last thing, so when we say 2% of the project should be used to be sharing results, we don't mean transferring the budget to the NEB Hub, but really budgeting costs to devote activities to this sharing of results and findings. And I think that with this, we can move to the next slide to start with the first topic, which is the impact of common space on neighborhood communities. This is a research and innovation action with an indicative budget of 10.5 million euros, which is expected to fund 3 projects. The deadline is the same for all the topics, so 12th of November 2025 this year. And there is the specific legal and financial setup for this topic because it is a lump sum topic. Now, if we go to the next slide, please. Now, before going into the details of the content, maybe a little bit of context and why this topic is there, why we found it was relevant. So, as you know, one of the 3 values of the New European Bauhaus is inclusion, and common spaces play a key role in it. They can bring people together, they can facilitate social interactions, they can create a sense of trust and community. So this topic really focuses on generating better knowledge on how common spaces affect social relations in neighborhoods and their communities. And something maybe to highlight as well is that you may have noticed we are using in this topic the term common space, which is wider than the notion of public space, because common space also covers semi-public or private places that are accessible by all. So really important to have a look at the glossary, because we included a definition of common space there so that applicants have more clarity on how to interpret this in the text. Now, for the expected outcomes, we have 2 in this topic. The first expected outcome revolves about better understanding the effects of the design, aesthetics, and other features of common spaces on inhabitants. And by we mean And by this, we mean notably their behavior, but not only, we are also thinking of other elements that are listed already in the text, such as health, sense of belonging, security, and then also the impact of common spaces on the possibility to generate opportunities, different forms of value. The second expected outcome is oriented towards enhancing the capacities of relevant stakeholders to integrate insights generated by this topic in policies, strategies, plans, and measures for the regeneration of common spaces neighborhoods. And when it comes to the actual activities that are included in the scope, they can be summarized in two main requirements. First, to study a range of common space projects in at least 3 EU member states or associated countries, collecting data and drawing on evidence on medium and long-term impacts, also on the effects of design, including the integration of net values, the effects of maintenance as well, including, for instance, the degradation of bordering built environment and or the presentation of cultural heritage, also collecting data and understanding the uses and experiences of common space by different groups and taking into consideration variations across different periods of the year. And after studying all this, then using the research evidence to provide policy recommendations for public administrations and other stakeholders that are involved in the regeneration of common spaces in neighborhoods. Now, next slide, please. Then we are moving to the second topic, which is fostering and maintaining the social fabric for the green transition in neighborhoods. This is a research and innovation action with an indicative budget of 9 million euros, which expects to fund 3 projects, similar deadline as the other topics, so 12 November 2025. And also the legal and financial setup of this topic is a lump sum topic. We move to the next slide, please. Yes. Now, again, why this topic? Well, there are 3 key elements in this topic. One is social connections, another one is cultural participation, and the third one is civic engagement. So social connections and cultural participation are associated with well-being, and evidence shows that cultural participation is also associated with positive aspects such as civic behavior, empathy, tolerance, security, and social cohesion. Therefore, this topic focuses on better understanding the interplay between cultural participation, social connections, and civic engagement, and how the resulting evidence can be used to maintain or strengthen the social fabric in neighborhoods and at the same time address other challenges, for instance, loneliness. There are 3 expected outcomes in this topic. The first expected outcome focuses on improving the evidence on how cultural participation may reinforce the social fabric and civic engagement and contribute to the green transition in neighborhoods. The second expected outcome revolves around further understanding the role that cultural and creative sectors can play in participatory decision-making, in community engagement, and in activities for the green transition in neighborhoods. And the third expected outcome results from applying the knowledge generated to improve methods and strategies that increase sense of belonging, collective engagement, and ownership in the green transition of neighborhoods. Let's say the requirements that are indicated in the scope can be, let's say, summarized in 3 main points. First of all, to study the conditions under which cultural participation may reinforce the social fabric and civic engagement, looking into existing evidence, collecting data, identifying possible trends, gaps, correlations, benefits, etc. Second, demonstrating at least 3 evidence-based methods or strategies in at least 3 neighborhoods in different member states or associated countries to foster and maintain social fabric. And this includes analyzing the effectiveness and potential for sustained effect over time. And the third point or the third requirement would be about proposing recommendations for public authorities and not-for-profit organizations based on the evidence collected. And this may also include other aspects needed for their implementation, such as skills, competencies, and partnerships. Next slide. We are moving to the third topic, which is beautiful, sustainable, and inclusive street furniture for the transformation of neighborhoods. This is an innovation action with an indicative budget of 10.4 million euros, which is expected to fund 2 projects Similar deadline as the other topics in this destination, 12th of November this year. And then the legal and financial setup in this case is giving the possibility to applicants to use financial support to third parties. So this is an option. In case proposals would like to use that, then the maximum amount per third party would be 100,000 euros. Then if we move to the next slide, yes. Indeed. So in this case, what we can explain about this topic as a bit of context is that street furniture has an impact on neighborhoods and their inhabitants at many different levels, such as the quality of experience, for instance, in terms of accessibility, safety, and comfort, also in terms of health and well-being, also as regards sociocultural aspects, such as social interactions, sense of belonging, cultural identity, respect for common spaces, and it can also have an impact on the local economy. Therefore, this topic focuses on applying the NEB values to prototype and demonstrate innovative sets of street furniture that offers more attractive, sustainable and inclusive design solutions for neighborhoods. This topic has two expected outcomes. The first of them is about better integrating different actors, and by this we mean public authorities, social actors, as well as the arts, culture and creative sectors and industries. So better integrating these actors into the design and development of innovative street furniture. The second expected outcome revolves about applying the evidence on the uses of street furniture and the role of co-creation in the design of street furniture to really inform procurement processes with the ultimate view or objective of improving quality of experience, safety, security, sustainability, climate resilience, and inclusiveness in neighborhoods. The scope defines also what proposals are expected to look at. First point would be about developing and demonstrating innovative designs for sets of street furniture that really contribute to a functional common space all throughout the year, that also contribute to improved environmental performance, that also strengthens the aesthetic and cultural integrity of the common space, and that meets the needs of different population groups also throughout the time. The second requirement is to apply participatory methods when co-designing and prototyping innovative street furniture. And finally, integrating the resulting insights into recommendations that would inform procurement processes for street furniture. Now moving to the next slide, and this would be the last topic under this destination, which is Network of Neighborhoods for Innovative Policies on Gentrification. So this is a coordination and support action with an indicative budget of 2.5 million euros. It's expected to fund one project, similar deadline as the other topics, so 12th of November this year. And then the legal and financial setup of this topic is lump sum. So this is a lump sum topic. Next slide, please. Yes, so a little bit of context also on this topic. So actions to regenerate neighborhoods may bring positive effects to these neighborhoods or designed to bring positive effects and increase their attractiveness. But these same actions may also have negative consequences related to segregation or exclusion or displacement, socioeconomic inequalities, loss of cultural identity, etc. So this topic really focuses or supports. The focus of this topic is to support informal networking among neighborhoods, to exchange knowledge and experiences, to build their capacities, as well as to facilitate innovation in policymaking to mitigate the negative consequences of gentrification. And as you may have seen, this topic looks at gentrification, but it also covers green gentrification, which may result from urban greening agendas and interventions. And also in this case, we have included in the glossary of the NEB part of the work program a definition of green gentrification to also guide applicants to better understand what is meant in this topic. Now, when it comes to the expected outcomes, there are three of them. The first is about increasing the use of policies to mitigate the negative consequences of gentrification and enhance its positive impacts, and also, covering the different geographical ambitions of the facility, so urban, peri-urban, and rural neighborhoods. The second expected outcome focuses on increasing the capacity of local policymakers to anticipate and mitigate these negative consequences of gentrification when designing and implementing policies aligned with NEB. And the third expected outcome relates to local communities feeling empowered and engaging in decision-making processes to mitigate the negative consequences of gentrification that may be resulting from regeneration actions in neighborhoods. Finally, the scope defines the requirements for proposals. So first requirement is about creating a bottom-up network, and ideally this network would integrate at least 15 neighborhoods. So I was saying from the different areas covered by the facilities, so urban, peri-urban, and rural areas. So ideally at least 15 neighborhoods from different member states and associated countries, which have a potential or a risk of gentrification. Then proposals are expected to map these neighborhoods' needs, challenges, trends, and opportunities to inform policies and interventions, and also identify, document, and disseminate knowledge, evidence, policy design, tools, and best practices that can be used to tackle gentrification and to address those needs, challenges, etc. Finally, proposals need to, on the one hand, support local decision makers in better understanding gentrification aspects such as drivers, effects, and interplays, and then to actually address gentrification in the neighborhoods of the network through at least one of the two actions that are listed in the last line of the slide. So developing or revising local policies, and that's one type of action, or the other one is developing strategies. So at least one of these should also be present in the proposals. And I think that's all from me. Now, of course, if there are questions, I'll be happy to take them, and back to you, Borut. Thank you.